but there is a percentage of people in which it doesn't work. So if you're in a room and everyone's vaccinated with the measles vaccine,
and you've been vaccinated,
and it doesn't work, the other vaccinated kids protect you from coming down with the measles, and nobody knows.
And what are the measles? Measles are essentially chicken pox. I mean, you're not dying from the measles.
You can die from the measles.
Not.
You can,
come on.
People die from...
People got measles for thousands of years.
You can die from the measles. It's rare.
It's preventable.
1 in 1,000, whatever it is, but it's still measles.
It's preventable. And the science says, and this is the other thing, is there's absolutely zero facts, zero science that says that this vaccination is harmful to anyone. So we have, eradicated a disease in the United States, but because, the freedom fighters think they can put everybody else in danger.
People are listening and actually expecting when someone says they're facts. What people know is... What we know is that there are facts and studies that show that vaccinations, which is the introduction into the body of someone, oftentimes children, of something that's foreign to them, has a reaction. That's why you do it. And there are studies that show that some people, just like you said, that aren't healed, made immune, have other reactions. And so before we rush to say, I went to Disneyland, by the way, at Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I'm surprised it's just the measles that spread, because there's so many kids sneezing on each other, and there were people half dressed. I don't want to get into illegal immigration, but if the INS showed up at Disneyland, we'd have a place would be half empty. But anyway, back to the point. There's a real debate about when you have children, McGraw. Someday you'll get a serious girlfriend, and you'll be able to think about.
There's a lot of ifs in that sentence.
Anyway, but you go to the doctor. There's a lot of choices now about vaccinations, and a lot of parents have to make a lot. And you're saying protect our kids. Yeah. And Chad's point is, I think, a good one. That wait a second, think about the impact. And by the way, you say health. Some people, it costs a lot to vaccinate everybody. That's also paid for by our healthcare system.
We don't like to give health care to our citizens.
And we ask our parents and the people in charge to make a judgment, and it's not clear that every vaccination is needed. So we ought to have a conversation.
And I think that the drug companies are making a lot of money on all these vaccinations, and they're pushing new vaccinations for all these illnesses that really are not.
That's fixable. That doesn't mean you take away the health benefits of vaccinations. It means you crack down on drug companies that are ripping citizens off.
No, but he's saying
but I'm saying
but hold on. Okay, but you're not saying the measles is a drug company scam. The measles vaccine is a drug company scam.
I'm saying all these vaccinations. I mean, there's so many more vaccinations each year. I mean, right now, if you I have a kid. I have 2 kids, and there's when they're born. They want to immediately shoot them with a half a dozen different vaccinations.
Shots.
But hold on a second. If the doctor, I don't have any children, but if the doctor comes to me and says they need these shots, does the parent then say, "Oh no, hold off"? Jenny McCarthy told me I shouldn't get
it.
Come on, yes, they do. There are a lot of people who do that.
They say things like, "What's the benefit? Explain to me whether this is a disease that's actually going to be deadly." And you develop a relationship. But ultimately, the parents, and Chad's brought a good point. We have a scandal across the country where public policy has mandated that you must provide vaccinations. You can't go to a school if you don't have X or Y. Now, some of them are basic. I think we'd agree. Measles may be one, but there are many others that have gotten to the point. We go right to it. The HPV vaccination. They're saying you must do that. There's places, and that's because when they pull back the curtain, it's major money behind mandatory. In other words, state provided or state required, and that's a problem. Again,
I understand fighting about things that only you're involved. But when you're the one who carries measles out to all these people and you affect people around you, then, when you live in a society, sometimes you have to say you don't get every freedom you want.
When you leave your house in the morning, you're going to pass Chad on the road. If he runs into you, what do? You have insurance, his car. When you leave home, you take certain risks.
That's communism.
No, it's not. He has
insurance.
It's
spreading of risk. That's communism.
It's private insurance. It's not government.
But hold on a second.
The state mandates
but all you have to do is have a parent whose kid gets vaccinated with the measles, it doesn't work, goes to school and picks up the measles from a kid who doesn't get vaccinated.
Right. I mean, it's preventable.
Some people get cancer. Some people
Can I sue a kid or a parent because they gave my kid measles or mumps?
Well, I hope not. But I mean, that's the same thing as same thing as getting a cold.
Some people's freedom gets to impinge on other people's freedom.
No, some people get unlucky and get cancer when they're 50. Some
yeah,
but
I didn't get cancer from you, though.
Right.
Well, you get, well, it depends.
That's different.
Secondhand smoke, that's another story.
Some people get beat up on the playground.
I understand that. Again, and if I get beat up, I can sue you.
well, that's a problem. No, you shouldn't be able to sue me. You should
Well,
train.
first of all, if you ever think about beating me up, if you ever dream of it, you should wake me up and call me and apologize. Chad,
the other thing with these doctors are so concerned about medical malpractice, and so when these companies come to them and say, "Hey, we got this; it can prevent X, Y, and Z," they're going to naturally tell parents that they should probably have this because they don't want to be these parents coming back and say, "Hey, my child got this preventable."
Chad, I've got a Republican Party card in the car. I want to give you.
I asked my doctor,
did
you give these to your children? And when my doctor says yes, I did give them to my children, I feel pretty good. But
a measles vaccine is different than a flu shot, right?
I agree.
I mean, flu shot.
They're all vaccinations. They're all.
Well, that's where it's going. That's where it's going to go, McGraw. Next, it will be like, "Hey, you gave me the flu. Why didn't you go to Shop and Save? You can get your vaccination at these grocery stores. Why didn't you go there and get your flu?
Well, because the flu vaccine is a little different than the measles vaccine.
But your logic is the flu can kill someone. It does kill some people.
Yes.
So if you intrude on this is her point. That somehow so we have to make everybody get a flu shot before you leave your house. You have to wash your hands.
No. Because flu is different because the flu transforms into different viruses.
Exactly, and it's not eradicated.
Right.
Measles was eradicated in the United States until some goofball.
Let me ask you this question.
Let's
take it out of measles.
How was it eradicated if somebody got it?
Hold on a second.
It wasn't the United States because we mandated.
Hold on a second. Would you be in favor of having children or parents force the kids to take a polio vaccine?
I am. Polio. I would be in favor. I'd be in favor of parents being in charge of everything. If parents wanted to do something, different.
If a parent did not want to give their kid a polio vaccine, you're okay
with that. Here's the deal with polio. Polio is eradicated, unlike measles.
In the third world,
in the United States.
Because
in the United
States,
I can't imagine a parent not doing that.
There are parents who aren't doing it for the same reason. They're not giving them measles.
Yeah, but I think the point is that we ought to be able to have space to understand that argument. I think there are if Ebola broke out and there was a could you mandate that people get an immunization to stop Ebola? I think there's a public safety argument that you could make.
But polio and the measles are much more contagious than Ebola.
Exactly.
But so is the flu. So is the flu.
No. Ebola is bodily fluids.
Measles is preventable.
But
so is the flu.
So we're going to mandate everybody wash their hands. I mean, where does it stop is my point.
Oh, where does it stop right now? Because I got to tell you about the Low T Institute of St. Louis.